What's up, fellow gamers? It's K-Wing here, bringing you review number 54 of Final Fight. So it's time to get your punching bag out of the closet and beat some punks. Story for this game. Metro City, or rather, New York City. There is an unlawful group called Mad Gear causing problems in the, quote, city. Anyway, the new mayor, who's sitting at his desk minding his own business, as most New York mayors tend to do, no offense to the New York mayors. Anyway, Mayor Hagar gets a call from one of these mysterious thugs of the corporation known as Mad Gear, who's like, dude, we totally have your daughter, and as long as you do as we say, she will be most excellent, compadre. Disobey us, and it's bummer, dudette. So, instead of going to the Metro PD, the mayor calls her boyfriend, and the two of them set out on their crusade to save Jessica. Their smart logic. Concept for this game. Well, this is an arcade game. Well, actually, it's technically a beat-em-up, but since most beat-em-up games are arcade brawlers, I refer to beat-em-ups as arcades. Anyway, you can pick between two fighters, Cody, and of course Hagar the mayor, who seems like a pretty buff mayor, kind of like Arnold. Anyway, you pick between these two fighters, and you pound your way through hundreds, and I mean hundreds, of identical punks. And you're doing this to save Cody's girlfriend and Hagar's daughter, who are the same person. And why these two people don't get the police involved, I don't really understand. When people say, don't get the cops involved, usually people get the cops involved because it gets resolved. They don't want the cops involved. They'd rather these two guys get all beefed up on their steroids and go out and beat a bunch of punks in the New York City State Park. So anyway, the whole point of the concept of the game is to go through these arcade-style beat-em-ups and fight the boss Arrow and save the girl. Wow. Deep. Alright, time for the controls of this game. Get your pen and paper. Okay, to move your character, move the command cross in the direction you wish to move. To jump, press the B button. To attack, press the Y button repeatedly. To do a jump kick, move the directional pad, jump, and press the Y button. To do a standard jump, press B and the Y button. To throw, Y button plus directional pad in the direction you wish to throw. Congratulations, you've graduated the hard knocks of Final Fight, but don't pat yourself on the back just yet. In fact, there's one more move for you to learn. It's the super move. So as soon as we get past this mad skill of K-Wing, you'll see the super move. In order to execute this, press Y and B at the same time to do a ripoff of Ryu's Hurricane Kick. That's basically it, but let's add a knife to a fist fight. That sounds fair. I mean, this is Final Fight. Why not a lead pipe? In order to use these wonderful weapons like the katana, you just pick it up and then use the Y button. Congratulations, you're done. Designed for this game. Okay, so this game may in fact be no Picasso, but it did do a great job of showcasing exaggerated street life in New York City, like the subway, for instance, with all the broken glass. And wait a second, is that working light fixtures? Wish they had working light fixtures during my 4th grade trip to the Bronx Zoo. It may have been a less dramatically life-changing event in my young life, or not, but this game still has scary punk guys asking me for my lunch money. Moving on to rundown bathrooms. Wait, somebody call me a janitor! That's not what I meant. Honestly, people, how do you expect me to give an all-honest viewpoint of the design for this game when it's simply boring backgrounds and again, hundreds of identical punks asking me for my lunch money? But I digress. This game is 100% identical to the arcade version, with some exceptions that I'll say later on. But the graphics are spot on to the original. So I will say this to the Capcom crew who made this game. You get a thumbs way up from me. I don't know if that really means anything to you, but for me that's pretty cool. If not, then it's time for the history segment. Now, if some of you saw my Street Fighter Turbo review, you would know that Final Fight was originally called Street Fighter 89. It was supposed to continue the Street Fighter story, but was given its own series instead. This game stars 3 characters, Cody, Guy the Ninja, and of course Hagar. Now, in the arcade version, you could play as all three of these characters, but when the game was redesigned for the Super Nintendo, both the two-player option and the character named Guy were utterly removed. Now, several aspects of the game were changed from the arcade version too, due to in part to limitations of cartridge space and graphical changes such as covering up alcohol use and nudity. The fourth stage from the original version, called the Industrial Area, and its boss were removed, not to mention Jessica, the mayor's daughter, was given a red dress instead of being in her underwear. But this game is most known for turning a girl character into a guy. Poison first made her appearance in Final Fight as a minor enemy and part of Mad Gear. Initial game design, she was female, as in the Japanese release of the game. However, Capcom of Japan received a phone call from a Nintendo rep opposing violence against women in the US, so developers changed her into a transsexual. However, US playtesters failed to realize that they were actually male until a representative of Capcom told them. Despite this, Nintendo felt that the female enemies should be censored, and they were replaced with characters that Nintendo created named Billy and Sid. However, Sega and Capcom took to the extreme by making a she into a she-man for release on the Sega CD in the US. They did this by covering up her chest, adding long pants, adding a male voice, thus making her into a transsexual. In doing so, Poison is the most controversial character in video game history. In my opinion, this stuff is not appropriate to be put in games that kids could play. As a result, I say epic fail to Poison. Moving on to Andre the Giant. Now, as many of you know, Andre the Giant is most famous for his role in The Princess Bride as the lovable Fezzik the Giant. However, in Final Fight, he's kind of the guy who can beat the tar out of you, so he's not really lovable Fezzik, but it's nice to see Andre alive and well in the Final Fight series. We miss you, buddy. This game's also available on the Wii Virtual Console. Bad aspect for this game. Well, for starters, this game ain't for kindergartners. In fact, it's a really hard game. I remember spending so much money on this in the arcades back in the 90s. This was an insanely difficult game. In fact, when you continue, this is one thing I hated about the series, is when you continued the game, you had to replay the entire stage. It didn't matter where you were. Another thing that I hate about this Final Fight version is it isn't two-player. That option was removed for the Super NES game. Why? I don't know, but to add insult to injury upon all the other things that I hate about the original Final Fight is my favorite character, Guy, the ninja, the coolest character in the game, was removed from the Super NES game, yet he's on the box art. Now, how do you explain that? Time for the good aspect. Well, the gameplay is great and solid, not to mention the challenge is there, but this game is incredibly hard, so be prepared to be spanked by Final Fight. This is an arcade gem, but in the arcades. The Super NES port has some issues, but at least the visuals are pleasing to the eye. Still, I would hold out for Final Fight 2 or 3 to hit the Wii Virtual Console, mainly for its two-player option, which is absolutely huge in these games that can spank you. So I say this game gets a 7 out of 10. The next review will be a co-op review with the missus, LEGO Star Wars The Complete Saga. Till then, gamers, God bless, and happy gaming. Thanks for watching, and please subscribe. Later, gamers.